Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we're joined by very special guest, current professional hockey goaltender Brent Moran. Brent has played the last couple seasons in the SPHL with the Quad City Storm, as well as getting stints in the ECHL with the Utah Grizzlies and the Worcester Railers. And even before that, he had some time in Fayetteville with the Marksmen and the SP. And before he started his professional career, he spent some time in the Ontario Hockey League in the OHL with a few different teams, including the North Bay Battalion, Flint Firebirds, and the Niagara Ice Dogs. And then he went on to play 3 years at U Sports with Nipissing University before joining the pro ranks in Norway to start his pro career. So I'm really excited to dive into your career from youth hockey to juniors to college or university and then pro. So I'm really excited to dive into all that and like hear your story, the adversities you face. So I'm excited to have you on. So welcome to the show, Brent Moran.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. But to start things off, like how have you been? Like it's off season now and you're just starting to train again. So like what's training like been for you? Or like what it's
Been,
going to be?
it's been good, just getting back on the ice now and keeping it really simple at first, doing a lot of edge work, a lot of skating, getting my tracking back, just trying to, get comfortable on the edges again, especially after, a month off. I think it's always good to take a little break and stay off the ice for a bit after the season, kind of recoup and get a little refreshed and get back after it. So just doing, a few skates a week right now and, training off the ice every day and trying to figure out what's next for next season.
Yeah, that's huge that you're able to take some time off away from skating and everything because it's just nice to recuperate the brain and the mindset and the body as well because you know how it is throughout the season. It's so hard and stressful on your body that it's nice to get a little time off.
Yeah, exactly. Just, like I said, just, try to feel fresh again. It's a long year and, we play a lot of games, a lot of travel. So definitely, suggest taking a little bit of time off, not hitting the ice as soon as you're done. It's good to stay in shape, obviously stay in the gym
Yeah.
and do your thing. But my personal opinion is to, take a few weeks off the ice at least and just do something else for a little bit and clear the mind and then get back after it after.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing better than that and giving your body some rest. But I want to jump into your pro career to start before and go backwards on your career a little bit here since the season just ended for you in Quad City with the Quad City Storm and the SB. And you had a big year this year. So what was this year like for you and just because you played 39 games, so that's the most you've played in your pro career in a season.
Yeah, no, it was good. Busy year, like I said. Faced a lot of rubber, which is always good. And we had a bit of a younger team this year. We're, I guess, rebuilding a little bit and saw a few saw a few new faces in the room. But we didn't have that core returning group of guys that, helped us weather the bumps in the road of the season. So like every season, you have your ups and downs and you just have to reset after every game, whether the result is good or bad. Just take it game by game and that's what's going to get you out of those holes when you lose a few in a row. And but yeah, overall, like great experience with those guys this year. We had a great room. And we lost in the first round of playoffs, unfortunately, but uh, we're happy that we were able to make that push for playoffs and then keep it to two close games to finish our season.
Yeah, so like you obviously put up a strong year and like obviously throughout the season, like you said, you face ups and downs where you lose a couple games in a row, go on a skid. Like, what do you do personally to help you get out of those games? I know you said like you just go one game at a time, but like what do you do? What do you do to dive into it and just really like relieve you from all the pressure and everything and just to get you to settle down?
Mostly just, if there's anything I think I can do differently during those games, review video, go back to the rink, the next day or the next week, whenever we're back on the ice after the weekend games, and try to do some drills that kind of emulate those situations that you got scored on, right?
Yeah.
And you trying to mirror those situations and kind of build confidence in those types of plays that, especially when it's bang bang plays around the net, you want to be comfortable in any situation. So that's one of the strategies I used. Just different mental resets throughout the year. Trying to, like I said before, just keeping it one game at a time, not letting whatever streak you're on, whether you're winning 8 games in a row or you're losing 3, 4 games in a row, not letting that affect your perception of the game and what you're thinking going in. And just like I said, resetting after every game and making sure that you have a clear mind.
Yeah, though those are that's huge, especially to reset, like you said, like it takes so much off of you when you're able to just reset, calm down, and then you go into the next game or the next practice fresh, and you're ready to just work on whatever you need to do to get better.
Exactly. Yeah. Keeping a steady routine every day at practice. Like I usually go on, 20-25 minutes before practice and work on some tracking, just get some warm up shots, warm up drills in. That way you're ready when, that first drill starts and you can build your confidence from there.
Yeah, exactly. That's huge. But you were a SP second team All-Star this year as well. So how did it feel to get recognized within the whole league and like that led to that successful year?
Yeah, it's always nice to get recognized from a personal level, but at the same time, it's a team game, especially in our position. It's very team based, right? So,
Yeah.
I had some good guys supporting me this year. That stuck through the year, through the ups and downs, and definitely made my life a little easier some nights. And I think it's just a reflection of our team and our character that we had this year, and just persevering through those tough times.
Yeah, so like throughout like you've played in the SP for since 21, 22. So like what have been some of the biggest things that you've learned throughout the course of your pro career so far?
Just not getting too high or too low, right? Just ever since junior, that's kind of been the theme, and I feel like it gets a little easier over time as you mature as a goalie. Our position takes a long time to
Yeah.
uh, get good at. You can be good skill wise, but a lot of it is mental. A lot of it is, the more you play, the more you recognize the game, you understand the game, and it gets a little easier to play. So just maturing through playing a lot of games, through getting those touches, and but yeah, just taking everything with a grain of salt, whether it's good or it's bad, trying to stay even the whole time, and um, I feel like that's a strategy that's worked best for me, especially when you play so many games.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost in a weekend that doesn't go your way, and then but sometimes that snowballs and affects the rest of either your season or your month, whatever it is. So just trying to have a short memory.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is the short memory part. And as well as like in practices, like obviously you're not going to have a good practice every single day. Like you can like obviously everyone wants to be good, have a good practice every day, but like there's days where you're not, and like just leaving the ice feeling good in some way or another, I think is huge. Like if you have a bad practice, do something at the end of practice to make you feel good, whether it be doing tracking shots or playing rebound or something like that, or playing a fun game. Like I think that will help build your confidence well going into that next weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to get something out of every practice, right? Like you said, like you're not always gonna feel 100%. Some days, especially in certain stints of the season, your body's not gonna feel as good as the start of the year. Obviously, you're putting
Yeah.
a lot of wear and tear on your body, and um, just trying to get something different out of every practice, whether it's like you said, working on your tracking or your edges, or just trying to stay consistent through a day that you don't feel your best.
Yeah.
Because some days, you're gonna play games, and you're not going to feel 100%, right? So that's kind of a tool to just train for those kinds of situations and know that you have to weather the storm and get through it.
Yeah, exactly. But the year before you were also in Quad City, so like what was that year like for you? And just because you came off an ECHL stint the year before, as well as playing in Fayetteville, so like, going into your first year in Quad City, what was that like?
It was good. I was, like you said, I was in the ECHL for most of the year before in Worcester and Utah. And, I think Quad City had traded for my rights while I was up there. Kind of talked to um, our coach at the time, Dave Pacheshny, and, he just made it really easy for me to come down there and just very, very good organization to be a part of. They took good care of us. Also, just the stability standpoint of, knowing you're going to be there the whole year, right? When you're in the
Yeah.
ECHL, especially as a goalie with all the contracted guys, you tend to get bounced around a little bit, right? When guys get sent down, so you're popping from team to team, and that could wear on you a little bit. But I decided I wanted to stay there for the whole year and play as many games as I could. So that was a great experience. Like I said, I met a lot of super good dudes, great teammates, and which led me to go back the year after.
Yeah, that's huge, and like that's such a good like division too. Like you have Peoria, you have Peoria, obviously Quad City, you have Evansville all right within distance. Like how much fun was it playing in that division when you're just playing against those teams? I mean, obviously you're playing against those teams a lot, which creates big rivalries, but like what's it like playing against those teams?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, Peoria's always got a good team. They're well built. They play the right way, and it is fun. You tend to get quite a few shots. A lot of power plays, especially against those teams. It's an aggressive game, and you're going to face some 5-on-4 situations, and it definitely helps develop your game, right? You get put in different situations. We were tight with Peoria this year. We had quite a few shootouts. So yeah, it's fun. Like playing good teams is always fun as a goalie, and I'd always rather play a juggernaut team than a team that isn't as good, right? Because that's how
Yeah.
you're going to develop. You're gonna get more shots, more scoring chances, and you just want to know how you tally up against those teams. And um, I mean, we do play them a lot. I think we played Peoria like 12 or 13 times over the course of the season. So it gets to be a little long. Those rivalries get a little tough, and the games get a little more aggressive as the year progresses, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good problem to have that you get to play those good teams every night, and then Evansville goes on to win the championship this year, which they're a well-built team. They played the right way as well, so good for them.
Yeah, exactly. And like those are the games you want to play in when it's competitive and you're getting scoring chance after scoring chance, and because you have to be up for the task then too. Because if they're
Yeah,
throwing everything your way, you gotta be ready to stop everything coming your way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like you said, like you play in the ECHL for Worcester for the Worcester Railers, and you got 8 games throughout your time there, and you're also in Utah that season before. So like, what was it like getting that call up to the ECHL and getting games on the coast?
It was good. Like great experience. I loved being in Worcester. Great organization, great group of guys as well. We had a young coach there as well. That was awesome. He gave me some good opportunity there as well, which I was grateful for. Um, Unfortunately, like I said, the contracts come into play and guys get sent down, and I ended up getting moved to Utah for the end of the season, which was cool too because that's a whole different division. You're playing whole different teams, so you can kind of see the difference in how certain divisions play in the coast. Some are a little more skilled and some are pretty tough hockey, right? So it was cool. It was a great experience and at both ends. And definitely something I'd like to explore again for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And like, especially when you're going to the other division, Utah, I'm sure there's a lot of cool places over there. So like, what have been some of your favorite barns that you played in the coast?
Um, you know what? I really liked playing in Reading. I thought Reading uh, had a cool rank, great atmosphere. One of the nights we played there, it was because they're Philadelphia's affiliate. So um, one of the nights we played there, it was Gritty night. So Gritty was there. Like everybody had a Gritty t-shirt on. It was just, it was kind of a funny situation.
Yeah.
Also Adirondack, we played a ton. Uh, Super nice town, nice rink. Really like being there. And then as well as Maine, we played Maine quite a bit. They have a pretty underrated barn in my opinion. It's not the biggest, but they definitely pack the place and the atmosphere is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Those that it seems like all great places to play. Like Adirondack has like the mountains and everything there, and that I've
Exactly.
heard that's a cool town, like you said, and Maine, beautiful up there in Maine. Anywhere you go in Maine's beautiful. So just it's just awesome seeing like the different barns that you play in and just how much different like the atmosphere is compared to arena from arena.
Yeah, exactly. You go to different states and um, even some states that you wouldn't think that hockey's big, right? And people are
Yeah.
showing up. They have great crowds and everybody's going crazy. Yeah, it's a really cool atmosphere. Definitely, one of the more unspoken parts about pro hockey is just like the fact that you can travel and see all these different places and just experience all that because I mean, I probably would have never been to, Virginia or North or South Carolina if it wasn't for playing pro. So definitely a cool spot and grateful that we get that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blessing. You just have to be grateful for all the experiences you get to experience from playing a pro sport like pro hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but you went 3-4 in your time in Worcester. So like, what was it like getting your first ECHL win out of the way?
Yeah, it was awesome. Feel like the guys were, rallying to get me my first win. And like I said, we had a great group of guys and they're so supportive. And obviously I wasn't playing every game unless there were injuries or whatnot. So we went on a little stint that I played, 4 or 5 games in a row, and the guys rallied and really helped me out. So I was grateful for that. And just a cool place to play, right? Like Worcester, not many people know about Worcester, Mass, and it's a pretty cool spot. And we had, a sweet group of guys there, and we had some fun, so it was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always nice to get that first win in any league out of the way, and you're just able to get the monkey off the back, and now then you just go in and play.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to show up and try to give your team a chance every night.
Yeah, exactly. So like through like you played a ton of games in the SB, played 8 games in the ECHL. Like, what's the difference between going up to the EC and like some of the things you learned from playing in the ECHL?
Just like we um, in the ECHL, right, you're working with guys that are getting sent down from the A or guys that are on NHL, AHL contracts. So those guys make a difference. They're, game changers in the league.
Yeah.
Not saying that the guys on, regular coast deals aren't, they have some great players on ECHL deals, but definitely those guys that are coming down from, the AHL or that are signed NHL contracts, like that would be probably the biggest difference that I find, right? You just don't have those guys in the SP. But all in all, I think it's, you could take a lot of the guys in the SP and put them on ECHL rosters, and I think they do pretty well. You see it every year. Guys go up and put up good numbers, and um, it's just a numbers game at the end of the day, right? Like there's only so many spots, and I think they're fairly interchangeable. But like I said, the biggest difference is the fact that you have those guys coming down from the A and guys on those NHL deals.
Yeah, it's a lot to adjust to because like you said, like there's NHL contracted guys and like with goalies and everything. Like if a guy goes down to the coast, like obviously like that's your spot and everything. So it's a lot of moving around, but like you just got to enjoy every moment that you can get there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but that year you also played in Fayetteville in the SP where you played 2 years there, parts of 2 years there. So like, what was it like playing in Fayetteville and just being within the Marksman organization?
It was great. You know, when I went to Fayetteville, one of my buddies was a defenseman on the team. It was kind of right after COVID, like, oh, sorry, early 2021. I hadn't even known about, Fayetteville or the SP at all. And My buddy called me, needed a goalie. They're making like a big playoff push. So I went there in January of 2022, I believe, or maybe December of 2021, I forget. But yeah, good experience. Played out the rest of the year there. I didn't play the COVID season, so it's good to get those games back under my belt and feel comfortable. And then the following year, I'd gone to Worcester for camp. They had six contracted guys in New York system, so I kind of knew there was a situation that I'd probably get pushed out because of those contracts. So I went down to Fayetteville for about seven or eight games, I believe, and then went back to Worcester and then Utah for the rest of the season. So, but yeah, Fayetteville is a cool spot to play. Like I said, I'd never been to North Carolina at all. It was nice to have a little heat in January compared to where I'm from here in Ottawa, a little colder. So
Yeah.
um, just a different atmosphere, and I really enjoyed my time there. They have a sweet rink, really good fan base as well. So um, still like going there and playing against those guys. I still see some of the people that were involved in the organization. It's always good to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, like I've heard the fan base there is incredible, like you said, and that makes a big difference no matter where you play. It's just like the passion and everything that the fans have, and when you have home games, like they're bringing it, so like the energy is always up.
Yeah, exactly. It makes such a difference, right? When your crowd's engaged in the game and you're getting those thousands of people that are cheering your team on. It makes a huge difference in momentum.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes or breaks a place when you play there.
Exactly.
But you first started your pro career in Norway actually right after your season ended with Nipissing University in U Sports. You went to Norway. So like, how did you get that opportunity to go start your career in Norway?
So we were kind of at the beginning of the season in the OUA there. I think we were about 10 games in, maybe a little less. And I got a call from one of my former goalie coaches who had um, a team in the top Norwegian league that needed a guy. They were facing some injury problems. So I decided to leave school and head out there and start my pro career. And like what a beautiful city. I was just in downtown Oslo or just outside, and like what an experience, just a whole different way of living. Probably to this day the most beautiful place I've ever visited or especially played in. Different culture. You just get to experience so many different things when you go and play in Europe. So that was a great start. Unfortunately, we were halted by the start of COVID, which we didn't think was going to last very long. But yeah, no, it was awesome experience. Met some great dudes that I still keep in touch with to this day that are still playing overseas. So that's what it's all about. Like you said, just meeting guys from different backgrounds who've played in different countries, and definitely something you can't take for granted.
Yeah, exactly. Like what was it like playing overseas in Norway? Like obviously it's a different style of game. Like what do you have to learn, especially since you played in North America your entire career up to this point? Like what do you have to learn about the European game?
Just getting used to Olympic size ice, right?
Yeah.
way more time and space. Little, I would say a little more, defensive style of play. Well, it was either a defensive matchup or it was just a run and gun, right?
Yeah.
It was one or the other because you have that much room. And they had so much talent in that league. We had probably like 10 or so ex-NHLers that had played, quite a bit of time in the show, and just learning from those guys. We had a couple on our team that definitely, had a great influence in the room and mentored some of those younger guys, you know, such as myself. And it's just one of those experiences you're trying to soak it all in and learn as much as you can.
Yeah, that's all you can do, and it's just such a good experience to go somewhere that you're not comfortable with either, and just go in and just be open-minded to everything, and you get to play the game that you love in a different country, so you really can't complain. Brings so many memories too.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's great too because you'd have international breaks for or like different types of breaks throughout the season. So we'd go we'd go out to like Copenhagen for a weekend when we had the weekend off on an international break, and just like experience different parts of Europe, and everything's so close there, so it's
Yeah,
easy, and yeah, we had a ball. It was just the best time.
yeah, that's awesome, and great experiences as well. But before you went to Norway and started your pro career, you spent parts of 3 seasons. You played 2 years, 2 full years in U Sports at Nipissing University, and then like you said, you left like 10 games in or something through into your third year to go play in Norway. Like what was it like to have, like what was the process like to go to a U Sports organization, U Sports University?
Yeah, I mean, Nipissing was awesome. We had, once again, like, we are blessed with a good group of guys, kind of from all different backgrounds of playing, right? Like, some of us had, played major junior. One of my buddies, Brett Hargrave, he's a forward. He played 5 years in the OHL. We linked up again. In my overage year, I got traded to North Bay. So we played there together, and then kind of got recruited at the same time, and wanted to keep playing together. And I had quite a few buddies from home that were going to school at Nipissing. It just seemed like a good fit. They had a good criminal justice program, which is what I ended up studying. So seemed like a great fit. And yeah, it worked out well. We got treated really well. Our coach there, Mike McParland, was great. Everybody got along really well. Mike was patient with us, and we started to, um, you know, kind of turn the tide a bit, and winning more. It was just a matter of getting the pieces in play, and staying consistent, right? So, but yeah, definitely a cool experience going to school and playing hockey at the same time. It's a lot to juggle, especially if you
Yeah.
have a full course load, but um, that just teaches you, different skills and time management. Whereas when I was playing in the OHL, it was just straight hockey, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that was definitely a change of pace, but something that I'm grateful for because it did help me mature a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And like you develop really well throughout your when you're playing university. Like you play in the OHL, which you're treated like a pro in the OHL, and then you go to university and you're just able to develop even further and develop your game and your life skills even further. It's like what was it like just using that development not only as like a person or not only as like an athlete, but a person as well.
Yeah, it was great. Like I said, just the time management factor. Like, we'd be on the road, playing in McGill and Concordia and Montreal for a weekend, but we got either midterms or exams coming up, so you kind of have to juggle might go to morning skate and then come back and have to study a little bit or work on a paper, whatever it is, and then play that night. So that's something I wasn't used to, and I'm sure it could throw some guys off, right? Because
Yeah.
doing schoolwork on the day of a game isn't always ideal. Uh, but it has to get done. And you just have to, try to, like I said, weather the storm and adapt. So that's definitely a factor that I had never had in the OHL. So um, it taught me, like I said, to manage my time and different priorities as well, right? Like you have to prioritize your classes, you have to get good grades, or you're not even eligible to play. So you have to dial in on multiple different aspects of your life, and it definitely generates personal growth for sure.
Yeah, I like how you said personal growth there because it develops those skills for your personal life and it just helps you continue to grow because you know you can handle more things than just hockey. Like you have to manage everything because, like you said, you need good grades to be eligible to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but U Sports usually always has a lot of cool little universities that you play. So like, what were some of like those arenas that you went to within U Sports?
Probably Montreal was awesome, going to McGill and Concordia. McGill's got, a bit of an older barn, a lot of character though. And we definitely like going to play there. They're a good team. As well as Concordia, a bit of a more modern rink than what McGill had, but same concept, and also like a really dominant team in that league. So those road trips were always fun. Definitely kept us busy in that for sure. And also going to play in Ottawa, where I'm from, was great. Going to Carleton, Ottawa U, have some family and friends out to watch, and also two pretty nice places to play as well. So, those were definitely some of the spots that stood out to me. Queens was also, you know, uh, Queens was, a smaller rink as well, older. Kind of gave the same vibe as a McGill, and RMC had the smallest rink in the league, but that always made for interesting games because it was kind of a pound pucks on net and see what happens kind of game. So the rebound control definitely had to be on for those nights. Otherwise, though, we made a couple trips down to the States to play against some NCAA teams for exhibition, like Omaha or Nebraska, Omaha, Lake Superior State, and Cornell. So those were some, awesome experiences as well, and just see what their facilities are like because, they're definitely not short on money down there. So they invest back into their sports programs, and it was good to see and nice to experience.
Yeah, and like you play in so many different barns too, especially like the smaller ones have so much history to them because they're older and smaller and everything. So like there's so much history and you can look back and it's pretty incredible to just see how far it's come and how the rink looks now compared to what it did back in the day when it was first built.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like you said, just like so much history in there. And, um, it just changes the way you play the game as well. If the rink's a little smaller, you can anticipate a bit of a chippier game and a simpler game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But even before, like, I want to get into your junior career a little bit here because I think it's pretty special because you played 5 years in the OHL and you also got drafted to the NHL in 2014 by the Dallas Stars as well. So, what what in a whole like going into like your whole OHL career, like what was that like? And then getting drafted to the NHL and like how'd that come about?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it all started. I was playing minor midget in Ottawa with the junior 67s here. I used to go to OHL games with my dad all the time, especially on Friday nights after practice. We'd head straight to the 67s games, um, and then all of a sudden, the OHL draft happens, and uh, 6 months later, I'm playing in the league as a 16-year-old. So um, definitely wasn't expecting that when I was, going into my minor midget year. Just I was just playing hockey to have fun
Yeah.
and try to be the best I could at it. I didn't really know what was going to happen or where I was going to play or at one point in time. Luckily it worked out. I played 4 years in Niagara. Loved the city. Love the people. My billets were amazing people there. They took great care of me, and I got some fond memories there. My fourth year, I got traded to Flint at the deadline, I believe, and that was just a whole different experience as well. Especially in the first couple of years in Flint, I know, it wasn't the best media coverage on the team because they did have some internal issues, but I had a great coach when I went there in John Gruden, and met some good buddies and reconnected with some guys that I had played with in the past. So um, finished out the year there, and decided I probably wouldn't go back for my overage year. Just wanted, a different scenery, and uh, didn't didn't really want to be in a rebuild situation my last year of junior. So they ended up trading me to North Bay, and also a good experience. I'd played against them in the playoffs there with Niagara, and um, just crazy atmosphere in that rink. Love the fact that they went back to North Bay, and because my first year they were still in Brampton, and the games were pretty dead some nights. So it's great that North Bay got their OHL team back, and they're definitely making the most of it. Really enjoyed my time there. And as far as the draft, it was kind of a crazy year to say the least. My 17-year-old year, my second year in the OHL, we were kind of rebuilding in Niagara. Just our goal was to make the playoffs and see what happens. So, same thing, kind of an up and down year like any other year. You go on these little streaks, and then you have these, 3 or 4 game losing streaks as well, right? You win and you lose. And that was kind of like my first experience as a starter of managing those highs and lows, right? Especially at that level. And then ended up, we performed pretty well. Had North Bay in the first round that year in the playoffs, and we took them to 7 games. So, it was a good push for our team, and we built momentum for the following year, and I ended up putting myself in a decent position for the draft that summer. Ended up going to overseas to Finland to play in the IIHF Worlds, the U18s there. So played over there at the end of the season, and then came back. Got invited to the combine. Went to the combine, and at the end of May, and then the draft was at the end of June. So it was just packed, just a packed year all the way to the summertime. And luckily I was picked by Dallas, and had some great experiences there as well.
Yeah, so like what's the process like after you get drafted and everything to the Dallas Stars? Like, did you go to like their development camp, or like how does that work after you get drafted?
Yeah, so I was at the draft in Philly. Um, Got picked. It was, I think, June 28th. Uh, I think our dev camp was, early July, July 6th or so. So I ended up going back to Niagara for about a week, and I was just training, and then I ended up going to prom, and then I think 1 or 2 days later I was on a flight to Dallas for dev camp. So just trying to fit in all the normal parts of your high school experience, and when you can, and then managing, going to dev camp, and then the rookie tournament in August, right? So in
Yeah.
Traverse City. So like really cool spot. I'd never been to Texas. It was hot as hell. It was crazy. Uh, so especially when we do our warm ups outside for different skates, or just like some off ice workouts, some of them were outside. You can tell you're in Texas when it's high 90s and sun's blaring. But
Yeah.
yeah, I had some really fond memories there, and met some good dudes that I ended up playing with later on in my OHL career that were Dallas prospects as well. So yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's such a good experience in a quick amount of time. Like you said, like you were going crazy for a week straight, more than a week straight of just trying going on doing all the high school stuff and then going to dev camp and all that. But like what was some of like the big pickups that you had in development camp that you realize you're like, if I want to play at this level, like I have to be able to do this.
Yeah, I'd say like obviously number one is just the speed of the game
Yeah.
is way faster, especially when you get to like main camps and stuff. You get to experience what a true NHL style game looks like when all those guys are on the ice playing with each other. Uh, it's the speed, shot deception. You don't have to. A lot of NHLers don't shoot the puck 100 miles an hour. It's just
Yeah.
they're so deceptive with their blades. The traffic was also something else. Like rarely do you see a wide open shot in the NHL these days, especially when they're you know trying to pull their rotations and then hit low to high and pound pucks on net. Like the traffic is overwhelming compared to what you have in junior, obviously, and then um, just the IQ. Like some of those guys have been playing in the NHL for 10, 15 years, and you can tell that their experience. They've played for a long time at the highest level, so that was definitely something that was super impressive and kind of a measuring stick of like, okay, I need to, like I'm not there yet. Like I need
Yeah.
to keep working at this. And it's slow. It's usually slower for goalies as well. You hit your prime when I think you're 30 or 31, they say, for the average goalie. So our position takes a long time to, you're never going to perfect it, but for you to be at your maximum capacity for your potential, it takes a lot longer. You don't see a lot of 18-year-old goalies playing in the NHL, and there's a reason for that. And like the game is too fast. It's the guys are too good, too smart. It takes years and years and experience in the minors to climb those ranks, and which is why like it's so impressive when you see a guy like Fleury that stepped in at 18, or like a Kari Lettinen that
Yeah.
he went second overall and jumped right into the league. So um, it's one of my biggest takeaways was just later in the summer when I got to you see Kari Lettinen skate and just see what he was like. Obviously,
Yeah.
the very successful career and
Yeah.
probably the best hands I've ever seen on a goalie. Those Finnish goalies are known for their tracking, and he lived up to it. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. And you just see those guys and you're like, these guys worked hours and hours and hours on their craft and like I've thought I've worked so hard on my craft and yet I need to do this to get better and just spend even more time on it. So like you just get a full sense of like reality when you like look at guys like that, like Kari Lettinen and Marc-Andre Fleury and those guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so many years and just so much experience packed into one athlete, right?
Yeah.
Like when you look at a guy like Sidney Crosby, you just can't believe he's played this long and done what he's done. But those guys just live and breathe the game, and especially the elite of the elite. It's
Yeah.
it's so impressive to watch.
Yeah, it really is like they just like you just spend hours of just looking at videos of what Crosby does and like you'll never see like the end of what he's been doing because it just continue he just continues to do everything every single day and just live and breathe hockey like you said.
Exactly. Yeah, he's just a workhorse, and he's a dog out there. It's especially when you're the best guy out there and you're working the hardest. That's
Yeah.
when you know that that the guy's just a different breed, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you get to learn from all these guys and I want to jump into your IIHF experience as well because you also won U18 gold or U18 bronze medal with Team Canada. So like how was that experience playing in and playing in IIHF tournament and then winning bronze?
Yeah, it was a cool experience. Just We had a pretty stacked team that year. We went over there, played some exhibition games in um, Helsinki, I believe, and then um, the tournament was in these smaller towns, Imatra and Lappeenranta in Finland. So you know what, we were there for quite a bit of time. We are there for probably a month. Got to work with some pretty experienced coaches as well, and guys that I still see to this day, like Freddie Brathwaite, who's in Vegas's organization
Yeah.
now, and guys like that their experience is so valuable, and just trying to soak everything in. Um, but like I said, it was such a whirlwind of a year because you're bouncing from, you just got knocked out of the playoffs to you're going overseas to now you got to go to the combine. And so yeah, it's almost like a bit of a blur at this point because things are just so packed together, and
Yeah.
things were ramping up so quickly. But I have fond memories of playing there, and when I see Freddie, we still talk about it to this day. And yeah, definitely a cool place to visit, and play in front of fans from a different country, especially if you've never done that before. It's a great experience, and something that you remember for a long time.
Yeah. Like how do you manage all that? Cause and still be in the moment? Cause you have like the combine, you just got knocked out of the OHL playoffs. Then you go into development camp, you go overseas for the tournament. Like everything is just going 1,000 miles an hour. Like how do you stay in the moment and stay present?
Yeah, I think it's just, not worrying about what's next week or what's in a month, or just, I think that was my mentality because it is overwhelming, right? When you
Yeah.
go through those moments of, okay, I have, this back to back to back. So I remember I was just trying to focus on, being in the moment at when we were overseas in Europe, not worrying too much about, what was coming up at the combine in a couple of weeks, or what was gonna happen at the draft. Just try to take it day by day. Stay clear headed, keep a clear mind, and
Yeah.
just attack every day with the mentality of I want to get better, and I want to be as prepared as I can for whatever situation's next. So if I'm at the tournament, I'm worrying about that, and then once we're done there, that's when you start worrying about the combine, and start working on the testing for the combine. Like I remember after I got back from overseas, I went out to Oakville to this gym, and this hockey gym I used to train at, BTNL, and I stayed there for 2 weeks and just practiced all the combine, all the different exercises like the VO2 max and the wind gate, and the broad jump, and your vertical jump, all that stuff. So focus on that, and then once the combine's over, it's kind of just a waiting game. So
Yeah.
it was by the time you get to June, it's you're a little antsy because you're worried about the draft, I guess, or what's going to happen. You just never know. But yeah, just taking things day by day, and not overwhelming yourself with the magnitude of all these different situations coming at you.
Yeah. Just 1% better every day, just like every day, and that helps build the confidence through everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your job just gets, you don't have to worry about the rest of that stuff if you're just worried about improving your game, whether it's on the ice or getting stronger off the ice. Working on your mental game as well, which is huge in every position, but
Yeah.
extremely in ours. So um, just trying to do something different every day that can help you reach your goals, or just get better at your position, and make you feel more confident in your abilities.
Yeah, exactly. It's all you can do, and just do whatever you can, control what you can, and the rest will work out for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but obviously when you go to these tournaments, like gold is obviously what you want, but you were still able to get a medal. So how cool was it to get a medal, even though it's despite being a bronze medal, but a medal's a medal.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. Like I think we were all pretty disappointed,
Yeah,
like in the moment, right? Um, today obviously we would have liked to win gold. We ran into a hot Czech team with this guy we had never really heard of called David Pasternak. And so we ended up winning the semifinals or sorry, in the bronze medal game. But I know that Hockey Canada and basically like most of the Hockey Canada organization was disappointed that we didn't win gold. I mean, especially back then, Canada was so dominant that it was like gold or bust kind of thing.
yeah,
But looking back at it, like obviously it's great to at least have a medal and something to remember it by. But yeah, hockey's hockey. Maybe if we played those games 10 times, like we're gonna come out of it with a win more often than not. But like I said, it's also a positive too. Like when you take your failures or your disappointments and you try to build off that.
yeah,
Um, it's one of those things that um, it's disappointing in the moment, but you grow and you learn from it, and you learn to appreciate it. Like like days like today that we talk about it. That I haven't really thought about that tournament in almost 10 years now, but
yeah.
you look back at it and you have good memories with a good group of guys, and you came home with some hardware, and you just take those defeats and try to turn into a positive for your self improvement and within your game and within your the mental side of things as well, not just as a hockey player but as a person.
Yeah, that's all you can do is just think about the positives and just how you got to where you are today and just go through like all the different steps that are you able to lead to that success. And I'm sure the OHL is one of the ways to start that because the OHL major junior obviously, and that's when you really start to feel like a pro and you get you get treated like a pro there as well in the OHL. It's like how did they help you develop and help you realize that we want you to be professional hockey players and help you grow into it.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of sort of a wake up call, I guess, especially when you're young going into the league. Like I said, like before that, I was having fun playing hockey. I wanted to be the best I could be at my craft. And, but yeah, it was, I had to put on some weight when I went to the OHL, had to, learn the speed of the game. And the nice thing about that is that, they give you all those resources. I had a great goalie coach in Niagara to start my career, in Ben Vanderklok, who's now the goalie coach in Nashville. He got that job after my second year, after my draft year. So, he helped me with my development so much. And, we work together every day. And that's the great thing about major juniors. You do have those resources, like you said, to prepare yourself to become a pro if that's what you want. Not everybody wants to pursue that after. Some guys just want to play the highest level they can in junior and then, move on with their lives and go to school or do whatever. But they definitely, they treat everybody the same, give everybody the same opportunity to get better and grow as a player. Um, but it was definitely, I had to mature quickly once I got there. And you realize pretty quickly that, okay, this is a business,
Yeah.
and you have to win, you need results, and you got to show progression. Even if your team's in a rebuild, you have to progress and work towards, a bigger goal. And that was like, definitely my first taste of that in the OHL. And it makes guys. I was a boy when I went to Niagara when I was 16, and after my first year, I could tell that I had matured a lot. And you got to become a man pretty quickly when you
Yeah.
go there, because you're dealing with different criticism, um, different opinions, and you just have to like I said before, take everything with a grain of salt and do your best to grow your game.
Yeah, that's all you can do is just with that personal growth, like you're maturing every single day, especially in your first year of juniors when you're away from home and everything like that. You have to learn so much to live on your own, and then you're learning how to live a life by yourself as well. So a lot to take away from that, and then you just continue to develop and grow as a person and as an athlete when you're playing at that high level and that experience that you can never get back. And like it's great to get those experiences because it helps you grow a lot.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like for example, my first year, I would walk into my billet house. Great people. Lived with them all 4 years. I was in Niagara. They were awesome, and we had a great relationship. But like that first day when you move in, you're like, this is kind of bizarre. Like
Yeah.
I don't really know these people, and but they took great care of me and made me feel comfortable instantly. But and then you factor in, well, I got to go to a new high school now. Like I got to go to school in Niagara as well. So you're factoring that in. Now you're playing on a new team.
Yeah.
It's a higher level. It's a whole different business. You're just tackling all those things at the same time, and that's kind of why I said that you do have to grow up quickly, or you're just not going to stick because it is overwhelming, and it would be for anybody. But you just got to try to adapt the best you can. And luckily we had a team with some older guys on it and that had been through that and guided us through that. So definitely grateful for that.
Yeah, you just gotta adapt to no matter what the situation is. You just gotta go in with a positive attitude, positive outlook on things, and just adapt to whatever's thrown your way.
Exactly. Just ride the wave.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a few more questions before we wrap this episode up. Do you have any tips for like looking back at your entire career so far and what you've learned? Do you have any tips for players looking to get to that next level, whether it be juniors to college, college to pro, or wherever they want to be?
I would just say um, number one's confidence for goalies, especially.
Yeah,
You got to play with confidence. You can have all the skill in the world. Um, you need to build your confidence. That's what's going to give you the ability to be, a game changer, especially in big games. Build your mental toughness, build, skills to reset after goals, reset after bad games, read books. If you can, work with, a sports psychology coach, and always try to do as much volume as you can reasonably, uh, to improve every day. So maybe one day you don't have access to ice. Well, maybe work on your hand-eye. Maybe do some plyo work, get faster, or go to the gym, get stronger. Uh, there's always something you can do, even if you're not on the ice, like we talked about earlier. Um, you take 4 weeks off the ice, doesn't mean you just lounge around and do nothing.
yeah,
Still get in the gym, uh, work on something that's going to translate onto the ice, and just have fun with it, man. Like, you know, at the end of the day, this is a game. It's a great game,
yeah.
but some of us get told we at some point everybody gets told they can't play anymore, whether it's when you're 18 or it's when you're 40. So my best advice would just be enjoy the ride, man. It flies by. I mean, uh, like just like my draft was over 10 years ago now, and if you told me that 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe you because it flies by. This game gives you so much opportunity to do cool things, to meet cool people, and um, all you have to do is work at it and be a good teammate and work hard. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, and just go out there, have fun, and like that's when you play your best too, is when you're just having fun and you're not stressing about the situation or what's gonna happen. Just go out there, have fun, and the rest will do its job.
Exactly. Like if you're playing, you're stressed and everybody gets nervous before games or
Yeah,
But you got to trust your instincts. Like don't let the fear of not having the result you want paralyze you.
Yeah, exactly. That's huge. I love that. Love those answers and like the advice you gave there. But my next question is post practice, like what's your favorite game? Rebound, three puck, or do you like just take breakaways?
During the season, I'm not gonna lie, I don't play a lot of rebound. I don't play two puck. Uh, I'll do some drills at the end. Um, Maybe do it like a shootout, like we do team
Yeah.
shootouts. Last to score, has to do something.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. During the summer though, like after skates, I'll play a little rebound. My favorite would probably be rebound. I don't love two puck. It's just there's just no end in sight. So
Yeah.
I like the competitiveness of rebound as my favorite post practice game.
Yeah, I'd say rebound for sure. Like I'm a huge rebound guy. Like every practice, the guys are like, Jack, let's go do rebound. I'm like, all right, like I guess I guess we got to go do that now. And
Mhm.
it's just good competitive energy and like it's all the players against you, so like it builds the confidence and like the competitiveness as well.
Yeah, and the guys have fun, and it's just something to chirp about after. So it
Yeah.
always sets up for a good chat in the room at the end of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But then my last question is, what type of music are you listening to before you get on the ice?
Um, Honestly, when I get to the rink, it's uh, I'll let the DJ in the room take care of what I'm listening to. I don't put headphones on or anything. I just have my routine that I stick to.
Yeah.
I'm not in the room a ton. I'm either, in the gym doing some mobility work, or uh, I'll go out with the guys and do some dynamic warm ups while they're playing sewer, and just kind of have a chuckle with them. But we listen to anything from like country to hip hop to there's some EDM, and we let the DJ take care of that. He does a pretty good job on our team, and but yeah, no, it's one of those things. I know some guys are pretty dialed in with their music and wanting to listen to the same playlist before every game, but if anything, I just listen to country music on my way to the rink just to
Yeah.
relax a bit and take it easy and not get too stressed out about the night ahead.
Yeah, whatever gets you calm and ready for the game, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
Exactly.
Especially when the DJ's got good tunes like that, like you can just go with anything.
Exactly. Yeah. I just, we let that guy do his thing. He's happy to have the job, and he lets everybody know he's the DJ. So, um, we appreciate his efforts, and he does have some good playlists. So
Yeah, that's huge. But I think that's a great spot to cap this episode off. So Brent, thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and want to wish you the best of luck with next season.
thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.